Okay, so we're getting ready to do US3. First things first, Japan 3, they bought 2 fighters, infantry, and a destroyer. I didn't even look at what all they did attack-wise. They did a lot of taking inland, right, which was to be expected. Oh, he took out my transport with his sub. That's fine. And he attacked Burma and took Burma. To be expected. Kaza, Novo, Evenkai, and Yakat were all just freebies. So that's where he ended up. He did put his destroyer here to block me from, just go right on into Manchuria back here. He's got 5 units there. I couldn't bombard. I've only got 2 infantry, 2 fighters, so I don't really have a direct attack on Japan itself. But he does leave me the Philippines open here. So I will be looking at taking the Philippines and figuring out what we're going to do with these guys. Up here, this is a little bit trickier. I sat there and looked at things, and I was trying to decide between if I stacked West Russia, then I could keep Karelia dead zone. But that would give him Caucasus. I did check; it'd be very narrow if he moved everything in and flew his 2 fighters and Japan bomber in. I would have a profitable 50-50 battle to wipe him all out there. Um, but it's 50-50, right? And I don't know that I want to be the one to take the 50-50 right now. And if I just dead zone it and he trades it, and then he brings in these 10 unit, or these 9 plus this one, 10, and brings his fighters in range, that's 14 units. I don't think I would be able to come back without being able to bring my fighters in to restack it next turn, so then he'd be going directly to a Caucasus stack German 5. He still may be able to. I haven't really done that calculating out yet, but hopefully with these 3 fighters coming into the picture, that'll limit that possibility. So we're going to stack Caucasus this turn, and West Russia will be dead zone, so he won't be able to stack at G4, but G5 he will be able to. But he also will be able to stack this. My opponent is a little bit shrewd. I look at some of his moves, and he's definitely a talented player here. I don't think he was expecting my answer to his opener with Germany. But by moving the cruiser up here, I thought he was just getting him out of the way. But then now I realize he blocked me from taking Norway this turn, which would have given me. Then I could have moved into Finland while he tried to get into here. But now, if he stacks Karelia this turn and then I take it, then he can blitz a tank and all his air and retake Norway without too much loss of momentum going forward. I'm still going to make him do it because anything that I can, take a tank or 2 out of the way or whatever for a turn or 2, I am going to be happy to do. So we're going to make him work for it at least. But he did. That was a smart move there. Using his sub here means I can't just use my transport to dead zone Egypt. I'm going to have to move my sub in because you have to have a warship with a transport. So this sub won't be able to go this direction. When I rushed, I did mean for this sub to actually be in 46, not 38, because now I can't reach the Philippines, but I do still have enough here to stack the Philippines with US alone, so it turned out okay in the end in that regards because this sub went that way and he only built, 3 units that could attack me? Yeah, 2 fighters and the destroyer, where he could have built 5. So we're still going to take the Philippines and stack it, but some nice little moves, and he's being smart, taking as much income as he can with Japan through the mainland, since I've really had to fortify everything up to the front right here. So it's a good player. We're going to see where we go from here, and he's going to make this have to be a battle and see what happens. My transport hanging back, if Africa goes bad, at least, then I could just bring him down and use US to do cleanup if need be too. So here we go. Purchase. I did decide to go ahead and buy a fighter, a sub, a destroyer, and a carrier. I could keep going to more transports and just getting that all ready, but I decided to stick with warships, and I went ahead and decided to build a fighter because I got a feeling this fighter is going to be needed over here to help and not get over to match up. We do still have this fighter that can join me though. We do have 3 transports already. Borneo will need 2. We'll need 1 from Philippines probably once we get to that point. So, maybe 2. So we don't really need another transport right away for US anyways, as long as we don't lose any of the ones that we have going. Alright. And I could take out the destroyer, but I just want to go ahead and take out the Philippines as cleanly as I possibly can, because hopefully we want to not lose an infantry, so then we can just move right on down to Borneo next turn, and then he's only got 1 transport and whatnot. As backup, I think we are just going to go this route. I thought about bringing them forward to like 59 or 52 and with the destroyers where he could battle it, but then we'd be threatening. And instead, I'm just going to come down here where he'll have 2 fighters and a bomber that can reach, and I'll have my 4 destroyers. It's a 50-50-ish, but he'd definitely be losing all 3 of those, or definitely losing the 2 fighters, and he'd have to land the bomber somewhere here where presumably US would be able to strike it. I'm going to do this. I am going to go ahead. I haven't decided yet. I'll decide on the run whether I want to take the bomber or I want to take a destroyer out. Part of the thought of I can sacrifice a bomber is the U.S. is doing well enough here without the bomber that I could survive, but that would give me 2 surface ships for trying to get a UK fleet dropped. But of course, a bomber is a bomber, and I don't really want to lose a bomber. So. And like I said, we can't really go anywhere except for those, which I don't really want to do, so that's a no-go. Oh, he's online. So, yada yada yada, la da 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 da. 2, 3, 4, but we're not gonna need him there. I'm just counting out my fighter setups for a second here. All right, here we go. Good clean kill. Good clean kill. Come on. Good. Oh, are you kidding me? That's not a good clean kill. Alright, so do we lose a fighter? Oh, you know what? I can fly a fighter over. That Alaska fighter can come over. Good thing I just counted that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can keep my stack. And I can keep 1 infantry alive so I can continue to attack and go ahead and get the... Man! Are you kidding me? Erg. Alright, we're gonna lose 1. Whoa, no, 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 no. Hold up, hold up. I'll just slow down. Slow your roll. 1 from there. And 1 from there. You punks. It's like, what, a 1 in 9 and 11% chance? It's not horrible, but I mean, Alright, let's get this. I know it's a whole bunch of infantry, but come on, a 4v1. Oh, I did have an artillery in there too. Come on, let's just... Don't do it. Kill him. Thank you. 3 or 4 hits. Well, all 3 of his guys got at least 1 hit, I should say. And another! Come on! Stop hitting! That means his cruiser has to miss at least. I mean, that's just the law of averages, right? If only it worked that way. His cruiser did miss. Woohoo! Law of averages. That is a made-up law, yes. It only applies to my games. Alright. I'm going to double check. Maybe I can move one of these destroyers down to 44 and just make that a little bit safer. Since I am going to be flying this stinking guy in here. I'm going to double check that last one. I think I need to move him to the Philippines. But I'm going to double check it. I'm going to bring him in there. Destroyer's got to stay put. So I can't move him up into here because it's, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, bomber. Do I want to risk the chance of a bomber versus 2 destroyers? You know, that's not a bad, it's not bad odds, right? And that would give me a chance to potentially sacrifice jump these guys on over. I was sitting here thinking that I was going to be dead zoned out of season 2, but now I got 2 guys there. I'm going to do that. And I mean, I can still come back and rewind if I have to for Africa, but this allows me to then be able to shoot him. This one can't run to the, yeah, he can't reach. So I can sacrifice my transport. I was going to sacrifice his transport anyways, but now next turn I can send him all the way to Karelia to help with potential dead zone and there. So I'm going to use everything we need to stack Caucasus, but maybe leave Russian tanks back in Moscow if possible, so that I could blitz around. I would need to leave 2. I was going to leave 2 infantry here anyways to prevent a simple take by the tank, but that would give me 2, 3, 2. Now, of course, he's got 9 tanks. He'll be able to move in there and at least 1 infantry. Anyways, I'll have to think that out in just a second with my Russia turn. Let's I'm going to put the video on pause for a second while I check out this Philippine battle real quick. Okay, so yeah, this fleet has a 2/3 chance of living without the 1 here, and if I just sent the 4 and had 2 fighters and a bomber, it was a 50-50. It was a toss-up, but that has 2 transports in it. This only has 1 transport and 1 infantry. That has 2 transports and 2 infantry and artillery behind it. So if he hits everything and just wipes everything out and wipes that out, you know, I'm still going to have my 2 fleets coming in. So I'm still in a good shape, even if he was to take that out. And it's only a 1/3 chance that he can do that. So I'm going to send the 1 extra destroyer this way just to help cover that zone. Let's see, what else did we want to do? We don't need him in there anymore. I like to keep my AA sitting in the Central America so that if Germany all of a sudden does get a navy out, I can move them there. Or if I decide to build transports and need them, I can move them there. So I tend to just keep them hanging out there in these KJFs. And that is it. Bummer on that fighter. That frustrates me. I guess it's a good thing I did build another fighter. And we may be building yet another fighter next turn, as it is. I do know with Russia, I do want to build a couple artilleries to help with the dead zoning of West Russia. That's a given. That's an unfortunate. I think I want to do that. I was debating on hitting him, you know, doing 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, and maybe I should. So the thing that I want to check out here, and I'm going to pause for just a moment, is the 1-2 with bomber fighter supporting a transport hitting there. followed by what do I need from Russia to try to see if we can create a dead zone of Karelia. At the very least, even if he sends all his tanks, then hopefully we'll have this dead zoned, Ukraine dead zone. But I'll have to figure out, what does, excuse me, 20 units here look like trying to dead zone that. Can I dead zone 20 units there and dead zone here with him having his tanks up there? So I'm going to pause again. I know it's momentarily for you guys, so it's not that big a deal, but here we go. So yeah, I think I'm just going to do this turn. Again, I hate to be giving Japan some extra income because he's going to be able to take Vologda for free, which I don't like doing that. I'm just going to have to rely on the fact that I do have, Japan lost Philippines, they lost DEI, they're going to lose Borneo. So, in fact, I'm giving them a little extra income for a couple turns up here. I'm just going to have to deal with it, I think. This is it. I mean, his force coming this way is pretty strong. And it looks like no matter what I do, he can probably stack both Karelia and Ukraine. It'll be thin, so I'm going to see how much his risk tolerance is, I think. Alright, no hit back. That's nice. I'm going to leave one there. Put two up there. Double check my numbers here. I'm going to put my 3 tanks so that they can be a blitz threat through there. And so that's going to give me 11, that's going to give me 9 infantry, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, plus 4 is going to give me 18, plus 3 air is going to be 21. He's going to have his 18, 19, 20. Some pretty heavy hitters in there. But overall, that's slightly my favor, so I'm going to leave it that way. So, because he also has to think about, he wants to take Bellow. So, I think this is a good setup here. See what he thinks. Okay, folks. Germany, they did not stack Karelia. They stacked Bellow and Ukraine instead, which I think, having that one Russian infantry live there, it was getting really thin for him to be able to take that and stack these two. And it looks like he's just not really all that interested in Karelia or worrying about Karelia. He's doing the straight B line, probably to West Russia and then over into here next turn. I've done my math crunching and whatnot, and basically I need one UK fighter at least in Caucasus next turn to hold this from the 8, 8, 9 tanks, 3 fighters, and 2 bombers he's got coming. Now, generally speaking, again, with him buying 2 tanks, I feel like this is a turn too early because he already bought a bomber, so he spent extra money on a bomber. He bought a tank last time. These medium tanks in here, I think he's going to miss those, 1 for that last tank, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ground, 6 infantry that he could have in here for that G7, 8 timing. I think he's going to be missing those. Whereas if he bought them, the infantry first, and then bought these later, the timing would hit better. At least that's what I'm hoping. I haven't completely calculated it out that far out in advance. Too far for me right now to be thinking. But right now, what I'm thinking is I want to make sure I keep this stacked, And with the UK, the tricky part is I want to make sure I keep India, which is not as simple as it looks, and I also need to keep Egypt and the South Africa plugged because he's playing this kind of smart. I mean, he did the what he did one infantry and a bomber and he won, which is painful because I could do one infantry and a fighter or two, but if I failed, then he'd be able to blitz through and I'd be in trouble. With my transport kind of naked, he's not necessarily going to survive. I could bring him to different places and bring the subs a cover and maybe have that the one sub versus two sub to keep him alive. Um, but I think I'm going to play this just slightly different. I want to keep a unit in South Africa just in case things leak through that I can use a one infantry and air attack at some point. So we got to do that. Either trade Burma or stack India enough to hold it. And I do want to get, because he took Iceland, unfortunately, that means I can't do my Iceland to Moscow ferry, which, is the reason he took that to begin with. So I could fly him to here to Arch, but then I also got to worry about the fact that 3 fighters and a bomber could reach there next turn, so I'd have to keep him covered with Russian infantry, which I'm not sure I'm going to have enough to do that. So I'd rather just build my carrier now, as well as 2 transports because he moved his fighters in. So I'm going to build 2 transports this turn, so that in the big picture here, I'm already starting to look at what can I do for possible victory city wins here, right? US taking this guy last is always a possibility. I kind of hoped if I'd had Karelia still this turn, then the US might be able to go bam bam, but there's no way for UK to grab one and US to grab 2 this turn. But I'm keeping the idea out. So if I have 2 transports here, Germany goes. He doesn't look like he's interested in stacking Karelia, and he's probably not going to go and stack France at this point. So UK could possibly get 2 victory cities to take me up to 9, and then can America, with these other 2 transports coming into range, can we possibly find that 10th victory city? Unfortunately, what I don't like about the game is when you get to 9, it'll give him the warning when he has his Japan turn. It says, "Hey, you're 1 short," and that's going to remind him, "Okay, we need to dump everything we can in to defend that." So I like it when US can take the last 2. So we'll see what happens here. If he might leave it where I could possibly blitz the tank and sacrifice a bomber fighter to take it or something, then I might do something along those lines. Like if he only has 1 infantry sitting there after his next German turn, we'll have to see. But anyways, that's part of what's going through my mind is, okay, can we get a VC snipe in here somehow? Um, so that's one thing in my mind. All right. So the purchase, we're going to buy an infantry and artillery for India, and that's the stinky part. I was 1 IPC short of being able to put 3 infantry there, which is what I really wanted to do. But at the same time, I wanted to get the 2 transports and the carrier down. So unfortunately, yeah, we're going to live life a little bit thin in India. Thinner than I would like, at least. So what I decided to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my transport. We got to have a sub help him along. So now the transport can go there. So remember, a transport cannot do a combat move and unload where there is a sub. And we're going to go ahead and send this and take it. Make sure that we take it. And that way, this 1 infantry and my 3 planes will be in range for him to hit with 2. Meanwhile, we're going to hopefully trade there. And then this 1 will be able to slide back. I believe that's it for the UK attacks. These guys can't do anything. We're not going to hit that, obviously. So now if he actually has this could get problematic if he actually has his subs set to fight and I lose that fight. I could be trouble, but I'm assuming his sub's going to be set to submerge. Because then Egypt should be fine and Burma. I mean, if he does fight and I lose it and I lose my infantry, then we're just going to have tank fighter versus infantry, and that could create some interesting situations. Oh, are we going to have a battle? Oh, okay. I thought the sub normally submerged sooner than that. We are not going to have a battle. I need to make sure I do not submerge my subs next time and at least have a chance of holding them off. Of course, the German bomber later could just pick off the transport anyways, but might as well not just let the sub get a freebie. Yeah, good. I was really hoping we could not get a hit there. He is bleeding the Africa troops. Berg. Well, that's nice at least, I guess. I'll be happy with that, I suppose. Alright, so I definitely need one in there. I could leave him here so he's just one away and could get back to India. And he also could go 1, 2, 3, 4 and get back to Moscow if not needed, but he'll be needed, obviously, right? He's gonna go ahead and take that battle. I put him in here, he could do like an airstrike, right? With the bombers, so even with 2 fighters, that may not be right in here. I think we're just gonna go here and here. Do you want to make sure we're set to fight, not submerge? What? We should change this one too. Yikes. I hope that takes place now. Oh, good gracious. It used to be when you change it during a friendly turn, it could still take place. Now I'm half worried that my subs are going to submerge and he's going to take that attack. Oh, that would be, well, whatever. We're just going to move on. I don't really need him to zero out there anymore. Let's just start bringing him on around. Ultimately, I'll use him to help dead zone the sea zones for sea lions and then for a build here, but he's not going to have enough to sea lion. I'm going to go ahead, and this is kind of crazy, but I almost want to go ahead and stick this guy where he can hit me with his destroyer. Because that pulls him off of this sea zone and one less defender against the US, which, by the way, can bring this fighter 1, 2, 3, 4. These 2 fighters can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And this fighter can go 1, 2, 3, 4 with the 2 fighters landing at 61. So I got 4 fighters that can hit here next turn. So I want to lure his destroyer away, or it could just cause trouble later. So we're going to move him on in here and just see what happens. These guys are no longer needed on Alaska. Eventually, maybe they'll come over here for a UK transport. Put our 2 transport and the carrier up there. There we go.